Welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Sherry, a financial coach.
And I'm Val, a financial planner. And today we are going to film this episode based off of Sherry's super cheesy, super cute saying that she probably got from somewhere else. And I don't know who to give credit to. So at this moment, I'm giving credit to Sherry. The quote is, "It doesn't matter how fast you're going, the direction is more important."
Yeah,
Something like that.
it's not the speed, it's the direction.
There we go. I was like, I know it's shorter. And we want to talk about this because this can relate to our beautiful brains in so many ways. Because when we learn something new, or we want to change something, or we want to improve something, or something's gone wrong, we tend to have the idea that screw direction. We need fast, we need change, we need to do it all, and we need to do it yesterday. So,
Must fix all problems now.
yes. And how this works with money management systems is from a recent call we had with a lovely gal named Tracy. She showed up, she gave us her numbers, she let us go through them with her, which is very similar to how our client calls would go. When we were giving her the feedback and the next steps and those action steps, it wasn't do 10 things and start this all today. It was, here's where we want to go. This is the journey that we want to go on, but we can't drive it all at the same time. So we're starting over here and we're working our way. So how has this come up for you in your life, Sherry? You can think of way past years, you can think of money, like what comes to mind first when it comes to it's not the speed, it's the direction.
How does this not show up in my life? I think is the better question, because not only do we want to be able to do everything that we could ever possibly think of, we want to be able to do it at such a high level without any training or work to get to that high level. We just want to snap our fingers, and our brains are like, we should immediately be the best at everything. And if you're not, you suck, you're a loser, you might as well not even try this. And it definitely shows up a lot business wise for me and health wise. I don't want to have to walk when I'm running. I just want to be able to run and run really well and just not train and then go out and run a half marathon and not die. Or I want to have 100,000 followers on my social media accounts overnight and like a full booked and busy business. It's just like, that's not how life fucking works.
And I think when you were sharing your examples there, what came up for me was when it's gone. It made so much sense. The social media piece. Let's talk about that one, where we want all of these followers and would love them overnight or to go viral and gain everything that we need. It is consistency. It is one post at a time, and it is doing that over time. And then it's working in videos and it's working in carousels and it's showing more of yourself. So it's not okay. And you might make this really amazing branding strategy or marketing strategy and fill up this social media calendar. But if you're not actually doing it,
Well, and I think that aligns a lot with money, because there have been multiple times when I have built a plan, and in January I'm going to post this, and February this is going to be my main topic, and I'm going to do my blogs around this, and I'm going to do a social media like content piece 3 times a week or 4 times and it's like, then our brains immediately resist that, because then it becomes January, and like November you who planned that strategy thought it was great, and January you is just like,
no thanks.
vibes are off. That's a
Mhm.
no for me, dog. And then
Mhm.
you maybe you don't post at all, or maybe you just post what the vibe is. And when we try and make changes with our money and have everything be perfect all at once, it's just like social media. Like, maybe you start with posting once a week. If you are not posting at all and you believe you're going to start posting 5 to 7 times a week, let me just tell you, sweetheart, that's not going to happen unless you have people helping you. If you are a solopreneur, you are going to fail.
The way you smile. Yeah.
It is better to create consistency by posting 1 time a week, or with your money doing one thing and working to make adjustments with that one thing until it feels like it's working before you add something else in. Because it's like, inherently managing your money in a way that works is fucking boring,
Mhm.
especially when you have a system that works for the way your brain works, that gives you balance between, I'm going to say that, like, permission to spend, but if you're just listening, I'm using air quotes because it's your money. You spend it however you want.
Mhm.
But if you have a system that is like, this money is for bills, no touchy. This money is for savings, only touchy during specific circumstances. If it's emergency savings, what parameters qualify as an emergency. And here's the money for spending. And make sure you've got money to eat, to put gas in your vehicle, or to pay for transportation.
Yep.
But after that, you go nuts with some boundaries, but some wiggle room, especially when you have a spending account that is all of the things spending in one. Sometimes it's better to have multiple, like one for essential spending and one for fun. So you give yourself more permission to have that fun. But our brain tends to get really creative to be like, yes, I need groceries. And I have $150 in my spending account before I get paid next. But there's something that I really want that's $100. So how can I make that other $50 stretch? Because my transportation's good. I don't need gas for my car. How can I make that $50 be my grocery run to get me to my next payday? What do I have in the freezer? What do I have in the fridge? How do I get creative so that I can spend that $100 on this cool thing that I really want? Like that's an epic way that the ADHD brain can create fun and get dopamine from your money systems.
And it's that creation of fun. It's the dopamine, because to your point, the money systems are very boring and they're smaller incremental steps that build the bigger picture. But to get from where we are to that goal, there's a lot of little pieces that we have to put in place. So we can get bored by the little pieces if we're not finding ways to have fun with it. I feel like my light bulb moment was, oh, maybe this is why we see so many super fixated, love this craft or this hobby, and then, oh, I'm not perfect at it, or oh, it's taking too long to learn. Nah,
Well, that's
nah.
I know the folks I talk to when we're giving each other the vibe check to see if we're a good fit to work together and if financial coaching is a good fit for them. I hear on repeat that they have tried so many times. They've
Hmm.
tried this app, they've tried this spreadsheet, they've downloaded this Etsy template, they've gone through and classified a year's worth of transactions and know exactly where all their money went last year. But then they try and do the next steps and then they try and do that full overhaul and then they burn out because it's not sustainable and we're not doing it perfectly. So it's like, how can you? Okay, but also, we're never going to do anything perfectly in lives in general. But like, what is done for you when it comes to each step of your monies with the separation of the spending account, which is often like that's what we recommended for Tracy first. Like, get that spending separate so that the bills and the savings can be okay. But what's done for that spending and my thoughts are done for that spending is when the amount you're putting in there covers what you need. It doesn't have a whole boatload that's carrying over from one pay to the next. You've got that amount and that frequency that feels good, and then move on to the next thing. Like if you're trying to implement the spending account and also put money away into all your savings accounts and also pay off as much debt as you possibly can. It's just like it's too
You're gonna
much.
burn out. It's like trying to do all of the things at once, and then it's gonna feel like you can do none of them because nothing's showing progress like you want it to. Where if you have now made it through 3 weeks of living with your spend account and you've like celebrate that.
Yeah. Give yourself a checklist. Give yourself a little
Hmm.
here's all of the steps that I want to do.
Hmm.
Here's what those steps entail. Here's what like done is for that step. You could give yourself 3 or 4 check marks for each thing if there's multiple steps. Like if
Hmm.
you get to the savings account step and you're gonna open 3, 4, 5 savings accounts, like those can all
That's
get
a step.
checked. Give yourself some
Yes.
dopamine and yeah, build rewards in along the way and make those rewards don't have to cost money. Maybe they're just an afternoon on a weekend where you give yourself permission to not do anything or to do whatever you want or to
Yeah.
haul out your latest craft fixation. Like one step at a time. You got to run before you can walk. No, you got to walk before you can
I
run.
knew what you meant. And even before that, you're supposed to crawl or something like that. And I look at it from, I think when we have, I'll go back to the health. I've never been this consistent at the gym. And then my brain goes, well, then you should be seeing more physical, right?
Fuck that shit.
Right. But when it comes to our finances, we go, okay, I'm being consistent, but I'm not seeing retirement on the cruise ship. I'm not seeing the changes I thought I was. Change what your markers are. Change what you're celebrating. Change what like be proud of the other things. Because I think our brains are society and environment and childhood. We're raised to see other things or look for other things as our markers. What markers are actually important to you?
And what markers will you come across before hitting a certain amount in your savings account
Hmm.
or seeing your debt reduced to a certain amount? Because you're right, those are the things like when I'm making changes with my money, I want to pay off debt. I want to have $5,000 in my emergency fund. I want to have a balance of at least $1,000 all the time in my main checking account. But what happens first is how you feel. Because generally, when you're reaching out to work with somebody like us, you are very anxious and stressed about your money all of the time. Like you
Mhm.
are in fight or flight. You
Mhm.
go from shame to avoidance to hyperfixation to over, like, you, it's this cycle. But you want to get to a place where it's boring, where you're not feeling that avoidance all of the time because you're like, I'm going to check my spending account because I need to know what my grocery haul can look like this time. And it goes from being all about emotions and who we are as a person because our bank balance is not in fact related to who we are as a person. It's just numbers. But you can tell your brain that all you want and your brain's not going to get the message. But like, shifting how you feel is going to happen first. And it's going to be a roller coaster, though. You're going to feel like you've got a good handle on it. And then something's going to happen that you haven't had time to prepare for just yet. You're focusing on your spending account and your car is in the shop and your mechanic calls you and says, brakes,
Mhm.
$1,000. I don't know how much brakes cost. But you're going to be like, shit, this doesn't work because I don't have money to cover this car repair because you're on step one and like you're dealing with a challenge that's like a step three, four, five challenge. So you do the best based on what you know right now and just have that. If that situation happens, look at your steps and being like, is there a solution for this challenge in my plan? And the answer is yes. And that's like, okay, but right now I don't have that solution implemented. It's like, so how do I manage right now? Because you've already been doing this. It's just being more intentional and not throwing the whole thing out when this challenge comes up that you are not yet prepared for.
I agree. What our point is that there's going to be a lot of things that you want to do. And in those moments when you feel like failure or defeat or this didn't work, it's not necessarily, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like that was not for you, but go back to all the things you try to do and just start with one consistently. Again, I'll just go back to health for a second. Like drink a cup of water before you have your coffee in the morning. Small baby promises and steps to yourself and work in ways that dopamine can reward that. If you do it for 7 days, what's your reward? Like
Yep.
having a system and having that list. I love a good list. I love checking things. I love crossing them off. Most of us do. So create a list that works for you. Then we find ourselves kind of turning, we can turn on ourselves when we go, well, this should be easy. I should know this. I should be able to do this. And should is the bane of it.
Stop shitting
Stop
yourself.
shooting yourself.
Like, yeah.
So,
I, I talk to a lot of folks. I don't know if it's just like that a lot of my clients happen to be runners. I think the universe just sends me that. But well, some people might think that they can just come out of the gate and run a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, whatever. Inherently, we're going to understand that if I try and do that,
I'll injure myself.
but if I gradually work myself up with a training plan and I follow the training plan and I do what it tells me to do on the day that it tells me to do it or close to that, you increase your odds of success. So, how can you step back if you're also a runner looking to make changes with your money? How can you put those in place so that it's like, okay, month one, I'm going to do this. Month two, I'm going to add something else in and just like stop being so hard on yourself. I find myself saying things like, if a loved one was talking to you about this challenge, how would you respond to them?
Mhm.
A lot to my clients because they're shitting themselves. They're saying, like, well, I did this and I shouldn't have, and I should have done this. And it's like, okay, but those are all reasonable things. So, how could you be kind to yourself
Yes,
with that?
be kind and constructive, like build yourself up.
And and often like a recent conversation too I had with a client is she went on vacation, her kid was home, there was lots of things going on, and she was being hard on herself because she overspent. But part of that conversation where she shared she had overspent, she also shared the solution. Here was the challenge, but I've already solved it and here's what I did without, setting up some dominoes to fall down in the future. It's like, wait a minute, pull back. You're sticking on the overspending part and
Mhm.
you're beating yourself up and you're being hard on yourself. You had the solution and you implemented the solution and you did exactly what I would have done in this situation. And like, let's take some time to celebrate that because a year ago you would have still spent that, probably more. you wouldn't have had a solution, and you would have gone into probably hyper focus mode and then into shame. And so it's like she has the tools in her toolkit now to navigate that and to identify, like, oh, where can I cover the shortage from? And it's like we spend so much time letting the challenge fester and living in the I fucked up and not the but I solved it in a way that feels really balanced with the things that I want to do with my money. So it's like we're going to figure it out. We always do. Like, how can we figure out in a way that's sustainable? Whether that's your money, whether you're an entrepreneur in that social media, like lower the bar to entry. Set that bitch lower than you think you need to. And then once you're successful with that bar where it is, then notch it up a little bit. Don't start with it so high that the chances of your success are very, very low. Like, make it easier than you think it needs to be and call that step one. Call that step 0.5, but just gradual steps throughout with some rewards baked
Yeah.
in there, and just be nice to yourself.
Be kind in your mind.
I love that saying. So again, it is the direction, not the speed. What speed is sustainable long term and slower than you think you can? Because then that increases your odds of success. And once you start to get a few wins, then you can maybe speed up or maybe decide you don't want to because
You're chugging along.
yeah.
Mhm.
So just be kind to yourself. Make yourself a plan. I love having a whole plan for all the things you want to do.
And then go small.
Break it down. What is the biggest challenge and what part of your plan helps you with that biggest challenge? And then how do you implement that? And are there things that need to happen before that so that it doesn't push other problems down the road too? So be kind to yourself, one step at a time.
Starting with listening to this podcast.
I want to go back. I think it's episode 6. It's like managing money with ADHD, where we break down like all of the accounts and how we manage things. We did one just recently where we talked about
Yes.
how we manage things too. It's like setting up the background and the foundation through your accounts and how you spend is
Yep.
really a pivotal piece to long-term success. So being able to have a system that works for you, but also being okay with tweaking it when it doesn't work or when it's like when it could be a little bit better, because we want to find boring, but weave in times for dopamine where you're able to find those less boring pieces, but just it's going to be boring. It's like a long run. It's going to be boring. It's going to be long, but you're going to feel damn good when it's done. But unfortunately, the done part is never really part of money because you just have to manage it for the rest of your life.
Okay. We've taken a turn.
One step at a time.
Thank you for listening.
And we will see you next time on the Mind and Money podcast.